Hey friends, Paul C. Tumey here with another look at a sequence from a Laurel and Hardy film. This time we'll be looking at a Laurel and Hardy short, which is from this amazing set from Flicker Alley that I highly recommend. Year 3, the newly restored 1929 Silence. In this sequence from the 1929 film Bacon Grabbers, Laurel and Hardy are working for the Sheriff's Department, and they've been sent to repossess a radio because the owner hasn't been keeping up his payments, and they're trying to get into his house so they can take the radio. There's an open window on the second floor. Stan climbs up a ladder that they found nearby at a construction site, but there's an eave blocking, and well, it's not going to work. So Stan has an idea. Let's try it a different way. Let's turn the ladder. Hardy lifts his hat in his ponderous frustration, gets his fingers stepped on. Come down, come down. Oh, okay, let's do it this way. Yeah, I'll pull it out, and now you can get past the eave. Go on, go on. Oh, that didn't work. So this is silent, but you can just hear their voices, can't you? I'll do it this time. You hold the ladder. So Hardy goes up the ladder, and now Stan has to pull the ladder back. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. And hold it, hold it. Uh-oh, Hardy might be a little bit too heavy for Stan. Oh no, here we go. It's not looking like too promising. Oh. And we end up with Hardy on the ground, and his hat got pushed down on his head so far that his tops of his ears are bent. Now the boys, Laurel and Hardy, us fans affectionately call them the boys. They did wonderful things with hats. And this is something you don't see too often in the films, because I think while it's funny, somehow it changes the character of Oliver Hardy, doesn't it? He no longer looks like Oliver Hardy to me, even though he's doing his customary slow burn. Okay, well, let's take a look at this sequence that I just showed you, because what you just saw were two stunts performed by two different sets of people. Let's look at the second stunt first. Okay, that's obviously Oliver Hardy and Stan Laurel. Now, it just cut, and those are stunt doubles. And Randy Scredbett thinks that the stunt actor playing Oliver Hardy is probably a man named Sly Slocum. And the man on the ground could be Ham Kinsey, who often worked as a stunt double for Stan Laurel. If you look at the shadow on the wall, you'll see that the stuntman playing Hardy is not as round as Hardy was. And here's a cut from a different filmed sequence in which Oliver Hardy is standing on top of a ladder, and that really is him. And he's waving his arms. First the left arm, tie dangling. Now cut back to the stunt actors, and notice this guy, his lines, if you will, the lines of his body. He's tall and skinny like Stan was, but he's curvy. Stan had a kind of a straightness to him. And this guy's got kind of a curve to his back and his legs. And he's taking it bigger than Stan would have, I think. Okay, now we're back to Hardy. Waving the right arm. Giving us lots of good visuals to look at here. So skillfully done, and in such a short amount of time. See how he's wiggling his butt and moving his legs. That's not really a characteristic Stan Laurel maneuver. Okay, here comes the fall. Ladder's going back. And I love how the actor playing Stan Laurel sticks his arm up, fully extended with his hand out, as though he were going to catch Oliver Hardy right in his rump and somehow hold him. That is pretty good, you know, and I think that was probably worked out ahead of time and directed. And at the last possible moment, he moves his hand out of the way. And now he's getting out of the way so he doesn't get crushed by the ladder as it comes down. Amazing. And now look at the man playing Hardy. It's like a circus acrobat, this thing. He's coming down, he lands on his feet, he lets go of the ladder, and then he does this classic maneuver that you see over and over when you watch Laurel and Hardy films and silent comedies and comedies from, well, the 1920s and probably the 1930s. This is a classic move with the legs up in the air. And there was a comedian named Lupino Lane who wrote a really wonderful book called How to Become a Comedian, published in 1945. And there's a chapter in it called Funny Falls, and he outlines a number of the wonderful tried and true pratfalls that stage and film comics use. And here's one called the throwback fall. And this looks a lot like the pose that we're seeing the stuntman playing Oliver Hardy doing. And here you can see Lupino Lane doing it in one of his 1927 films. And I think part of the reason for this is it's so much more visual because suddenly you have this surprising vertical instead of just everything being horizontal and flat. And what a great composition this is. Look at that flat ladder. And this was probably not set design. This is probably just a lucky accident, but there's a rock wall there that also complements, and the horizon line. And then you have this vertical of the legs, as well as these great little saplings in the background. And of course, Stan Laurel, who's about as, the stunt double playing Stan, who's about as skinny as those young trees. So just wanted to mention that if you are interested in more of this material, there's a great DVD that's available on Amazon, which has a number of Lupino Lane's films and great extras on it, and I highly recommend it. If you like this material, this man was absolutely brilliant, a great filmmaker as well as comedian. And I actually am really interested in the intersection between comics and film comedy of the same era. And this is a comic strip that came out in 1923, I think. 24. And here you see the same pose as the climactic punchline. And this was drawn by a great cartoonist from that era named Milt Gross. And I actually wrote and published and designed this book, which has a collection of Milt's comics in it. And this is available on Amazon as well if you want to buy it. Okay, so going back to this sequence, now let's go back to the first stunt and look at that, because that is actually performed by Laurel and Hardy, and it's kind of amazing to me because I don't think modern actors who are stars would do this. I mean, Tom Cruise, I guess, is famous for doing his own stunts. Jackie Chan. Well, these guys are also working on that level. Okay, here we go. Hardy, man, how many times did Oliver Hardy have his fingers stepped on by Stan? Reaction take, pulling the hand back, which throws Stan off balance. No, not yet. Hardy's selling that gag with a great reaction. Now he turns to anger. He was such a wonderful actor, so fluid, so graceful, so able to communicate so much. And this is without words, mind you. Okay, let's get to the fall. Okay, here we go. Stan's going to wiggle the ladder back and forth. And by the way, they do this again in a 1929 film called Liberty, which just blows my mind because they're on top of a building and Stan's wobbling on a ladder balanced on a board that looks like it's about 15 stories in the air. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. Anyway, so, this goes by so quickly when you watch it in real time, but here we're watching it one frame at a time. And you can just see how rich, how much movement, and how precise and focused their movements are. And here comes the fall, okay? And Stan is coming down, and Hardy's got to not move out of the way like we saw in the sequence that follows this, but he catches his partner. And Stan, once again, this is trust between these two. And notice Stan's kicking his legs off of the falling ladder and poking his butt out into Hardy. And Hardy's head momentarily turns. But the key part to the success of this stunt is that Hardy gets his hands wrapped around Stan so that he can control Stan's backward movements and cushion him. And here we go. Now you can see he's holding Stan. Okay, so for, maybe a second or two, he's got control of Stan. Meanwhile, Stan's still comically flailing his legs to create that great comic profile, and he's throwing his arms in the air now. And Hardy's got to fall backwards with him, but Stan is continuing to act like the clown he is. And they just go out into this indecipherable form in which their two bodies just somehow seem to combine into this chaotic mass. And now from this, more arms extended and more legs, and look at what Stan's doing. It's the end of the fallback, right? Like we just saw. He does it once, arms on the ground, flat on the ground. Hardy's mirroring. Now look at that. They're mirroring it. They're mirroring each other. Isn't that wonderful? And they cut from that to this, which I suspect they needed to take a break to recover from that stunt and then set it up again. So there you go. That's a little bit of the magic behind the scenes of Laurel and Hardy and their incredible, skillful stunt work.